A couple of surgeons, Alistair Wilson and Richard Earlham, got this dream of setting up an emergency helicopter medical service. They went to see my boss, Lord Stevens, interested him in the idea. He then sent for me and said, can we make this thing work?
Andrew Cameron rang me up later and said, well, look, we think we can give you, I think it was something like a couple of £100,000. I'm like, great. Hang on, what can we do with a couple of £100,000? Lovely offer, but what can we do? I mean, we need a helipad, we need helicopters, we need so much. Then he rang me and said, look, forget about that couple of £100,000, he said. I thought, oh no, oh well, it was a nice thought. He says, what we'll do is we'll work with you to actually give you the helicopter and get it working, which is what they did.
You have pain in your neck?
I had a bit.
A little bit. It's gone away now, has it?
Yeah.
Did you feel any funny feelings?
The HEMS team have been involved in an awful lot of major incidents over the last 10 years, and there's no doubt in that sort of environment that the skills of the team come into their own. The aircraft has the ability to put 4 or 5 teams into the major incident.
Explosion in Moorgate.
We're also able to use the aircraft to take the critically ill patients to more peripheral hospitals where they're not being overwhelmed. I suppose the major rationale for our operation is very simply getting a very senior doctor and paramedic team to the patient side as quickly as possible. There is something called the golden hour for trauma patients.
The golden hour is the hour after which an injury has occurred, and during this hour it's the time when you are most likely to die, and it's the time at which there are more things that we can put right and make you better.
The call-out starts with a 999 call from a member of the public. That gets routed to London Ambulance Service headquarters, where it is then categorised to see if it is suitable for the helicopter. We try to get airborne within 2 to 4 minutes.
You're clear, and the wind is estimated to be southwesterly less than 10.
I don't really care about helicopters. The point of the helicopter is in a highly congested area, especially an area like London. It is the fastest way to take qualified people to the scene of an accident, to stabilise and then to return those people as quickly as possible to a centre of excellence which can deal with their injuries.
There's a tremendous amount of evidence now that shows that if a patient with a head injury and with chest injuries goes to a hospital that specifically caters for head injuries and chest injuries, they will do very much better.
When we got to him, he was alert and orientated.
You can take a burns patient directly to a burns unit. This sort of thing is terribly important, and to get to the right hospital first is one of the things which the helicopter is able to do better than anything else. And of course, it does it so fast.
Operating helicopters in the urban environment at night is a very dangerous phenomenon, but we do want our service to carry on into the night, and that's going to take an awful lot of support. We need lots of cars at night to be able to meet the same sort of response times that we can in the daytime with the helicopter.
We have rapid response vehicles. What we don't have is staff to staff them, and we need sufficient doctors and paramedics to keep them on the road 7 days a week.
We're going out to a motorcyclist who's been knocked over somewhere near Holborn, and we know that he's conscious and we know that he's got a leg injury, but that's it at the moment.
Essentially, the helicopter and cars carry all of the equipment that you'd find in an intensive care unit, which allows us to do all of the procedures that we do in there or in the resource room out in the streets.
London's air ambulance costs round about £1.2 million a year, which sounds expensive, but when you consider it costs £350,000 for a conventional ambulance, that does seem like good value for money.
You're looking at costs of £600 an hour just to operate the helicopter. So you start multiplying that by 365 days a year and daylight hours, and you'll see what's involved.
It's not just, you know, a couple of pilots and a couple of paramedics and a couple of doctors. Actually, to support the helicopter and keep it running every day of the week, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, requires a big support team. So as that helicopter can be ready to go at a moment's notice at any time of the day.
There's huge calls on the health service purse strings, and so we also require charitable funding to make up the difference. And if you consider that well-known services like the hospice movement and Macmillan Nurses are all charitable funded, if we want to have things that are that bit extra and special, then we do need to have more money to do so.
As one guy said to me, he came up to me at a function and said, "I'd like to thank you." And I said, "What for?" I'd never seen him in my life. He said, "Your helicopter saved the life of my baby." That's why we need the support from the community and the business community. You know, from the point of view of sponsoring companies, this is tax-deductible stuff.
Well, obviously it's very difficult for a charity to lease a helicopter because they need financial guarantees. So what Virgin does is it guarantees the lease for them, allows them to get the helicopter, and we pay half the lease costs of the helicopter.
We employ a lot of people in London. You know, any one of our people could actually get involved in an accident. And so I think for corporations to chip in something to try to make sure that this service continues is important. Virgin will continue to support it, but we need the support of one or two other corporations as well.
I go back to the benefit to a commercial company of spending some of its profits on a very worthwhile and very public operation.
I think it's one of those projects where you can tangibly see the benefits of having done something in saved lives every day, and that's really what matters the most.